Hello everyone, and welcome to this series on how to enhance our code review experience. In this last video, we will see what the author and reviewer need to consider during the review itself. That's it. Our code review journey finally led us here. The code review is now on. What do we all need to keep in mind during this exercise? Let's start with some general advice applicable to both author and reviewer. It's really important to have the correct mindset, approach, and vision of the code review. It is not a fight. It is not a contest about who's the best technically speaking, who's right or wrong. Not at all. It's an opportunity for colleagues to check together some changes in the codebase and try to enhance them on different aspects: clarity and readability, robustness, efficiency, security, you name it. When we do so, we learn from each other, from our comments and answers, our discussions and agreements. We share and enrich our technical knowledge and codebase awareness. At Google, this educational aspect of the code review is highly emphasized in their onboarding guides. Remember, as an author, that when your code reaches the code review step, then it's not your code anymore. It now belongs to the team. There is a collective responsibility and ownership around it. This improves what we call the truck factor or bus factor of the team. What is that? It's the number of people that would have to be run over by a truck before some critical piece of knowledge goes missing, and the codebase cannot be maintained anymore. Unfortunately, this number is often just one, some kind of single point of knowledge failure. But thanks to the code review, this number will increase. Now some general advice about this team exercise. One critical point during a review is that we always need to reach together a shared understanding and agreement about each comment and suggestion. It's only after both agreeing that the added value of a suggestion is worth the effort that the author can spend time on it. If there are no good reasons, the code is good enough as it is, then just keep it, accept it, and move on. Remember, it's all about balance. When you comment on something or answer to a comment, avoid making assumptions. What you understood might only be one piece of a puzzle. It's only by discussing together and sharing your points of view that you will see the full picture. Then you will start making meaningful and relevant comments and answers, and easily understand and agree with each other. Comments. I'm using this word a lot. That's because in almost all the code reviews, there will be one, several, sometimes too many comments. So they are very important, and the way you write them can be quite impactful. You have to put yourself in the shoes of the person that will receive the comment. Can it be perceived as hurtful or aggressive or pedantic? Then reformulate it another way. Keep the team spirit and long-term collaboration in mind. Show empathy. Be patient and humble, respectful and polite. That seems to be common sense, but we tend to forget about this when we write our comments and answers. Accept that everyone will make mistakes at some point. Author, reviewer, junior or senior. Try to foster collaborative discussions. Do not write instructions and orders, but remarks and suggestions for potential updates. Do not write negations, but questions. Open the room for debate to reach a shared understanding and agreement. Do not write the word you, because it might unfortunately be perceived as a personal attack on the person reading the comments, and that's not what we want. We are here to focus on the code of the team, so use the word we, or just remove the subject from the sentence. Every time you write a comment or answer, it's a great opportunity to strengthen your writing and communication skills, which are very important for us software engineers. You have to make sure that your comments are crystal clear, leaving no room for assumptions. They also need to be actionable. If you just say that something is wrong without even giving any hints to point the author into the right direction, that's not very useful. As a reviewer, you're here to help your colleague, so donate some of your time and provide examples, hints, and potential solutions. Then, instead of being perceived as some pedantic and annoying gatekeeper, you will become a trusted and supportive teammate that your colleagues will like to be reviewed by. Of course, you have to adapt to your audience. If you are reviewing a senior's code, then you can just slightly tell them what might be wrong. They will understand what to do on their own. However, if you are reviewing a junior's code, then you need to be as exhaustive and detailed as possible to help them progress efficiently. You can even put some fun in the code review. It has the potential to be a nice and enjoyable moment. Write some jokes, add some trolls and memes in your comments. Have some fun with your colleagues, but be careful about how this might be perceived. Only do it if you're sure that your jokes will be properly understood. Finally, there will always be some optional comments, where the reviewer is just nitpicking about some details, but in the end they are not that important. Be clear that those comments are optional. If the code review lasted a long time already, which puts a lot of stress on everyone, particularly the author, and the only remaining comments are optional ones, then they might just be ignored, and that should be fine. Code review speed is important. So how can we make sure that we don't end up with an overly time-consuming review? Once involved, be responsive, be dedicated, and focused on the review exclusively. Only then will you be as efficient as possible. Do not do it in parallel of another activity. If you have a meeting in 10 minutes, do not start a review. If you will be on holiday the next day, unable to discuss and resolve your comments with the author, then it might be better to not start a review. An easy way to be very efficient after the first round of comments done by the reviewer is to just get together in front of the same computer to discuss and resolve all the tricky comments one by one. As we do a lot of remote work, you can achieve almost the same efficiency with video calls and screen sharing. Do not forget to turn on your webcams to see each other and easily know when you will have reached a shared understanding and agreement. Resolving tricky comments one by one like this will be much more efficient, much faster and easier than doing it with an endless battle of written answers. One important point though, do not forget to summarize the outcome of these live discussions, what you agreed upon together. Write a little recap of your decision as an answer to the PR comment that was discussed. Because there might be other people looking at the PR. They will want to know how this specific comment was resolved. What was your agreement on it? It might even be you in a few months when you will have to investigate some production bug. You might come back to this PR to know why those changes were done that way, and you will be happy to know exactly which decisions were taken back then. We have to do code reviews efficiently, but it should definitely not be at the cost of their quality. It's very important to keep a good balance between speed and usefulness. Again, you have to be focused and dedicated. Take the time that you need to do a meaningful and qualitative review. If there are some parts of the code that you're not very comfortable with, just ask some colleagues that are more knowledgeable in those areas. It will be good for knowledge sharing, and it's about the code of the team after all, so other contributors should jump in and help with the review if needed. Don't hesitate to pull the changes locally. Execute the code on your end. Try to see how it flows at runtime. It should help you better understand the logic of those code changes, and then you will provide more relevant and qualitative comments. Let's now see some advice for the reviewer. Don't forget that the users of the code will be the customers in production, for sure, but also you, the developers, the team working around this code base, when you will have to maintain or investigate it in the future. One of the critical things that you need to consider during a review is the understandability and maintainability of the code. Everyone should be able to investigate, understand, and refactor this code in a few months, even a newcomer on the team. If you see one of those very clever and efficient one-liners, be careful. You should definitely ask the author to redo this in a much clearer way. It might end up being longer, more lines of code, but we don't care. We just want the code to be crystal clear so that even a newcomer can work with it. You're here to help the author keep the code base consistent. Make sure that existing patterns are followed, that we do not reinvent the wheel if something is present in the code base already, that all the conventions and rules are respected. However, you have to accept that there are different good and valid ways of coding. You are not here to push your own preferences on the author. What you would have done might be different, but as long as some changes properly follow the initial design and architecture agreements, and they are good enough, then accept them, eventually with some suggestions, and move on. Only refuse what's undoubtedly wrong. Remember, it's all about balance. Make sure that you review everything, particularly the tests that are linked to the code changes. You could even start by reviewing the tests in some kind of TDD way. That's up to you. You also have to review the code comments. They are your inline documentation about some tricky parts, so they have to be enhanced during the review if possible. Review everything that might be linked to those changes. New mocks, external documentation, processes updates, everything. Code review is not only about discussions and enhancements, it's also about good team spirit. If you see a nice piece of new code, a great refactor, a good cleaning, then just say so. Write a comment, show some appreciation. The author will be very pleased to see that their efforts are being recognized. There are plenty of tools that you can use during your reviews, so make sure that you know how they work. Play around with their configuration, try all their options, and find what works best for you. Switch between the different div views. For instance, I prefer the unified view for small and isolated changes, and the side-by-side view for big refactors. It makes my reviews more efficient, find out about your preferences. You can even use some external tools. Sometimes GitHub's diff algorithm is struggling for some reason, so I just check it in another tool, and it becomes much clearer, so my review is easier and my comments are meaningful. Let's finish with some advice for the author. As an author, you have to be eager to receive as many comments as possible, because each of them is an opportunity for you to enhance the code that you spent time implementing and to enrich your technical knowledge while you do so, thanks to the reviewers' insightful comments. If you receive no comments, it has to be a disappointment. Or it means that you made a perfect job from the beginning, in which case, congratulations. You have to be patient. If you immediately push some changes, as soon as you see a new comment appear, it will become a mess. The reviewer might still be trying to understand the changes better and better, and they could want to edit their first comments. So just wait for them to finish their review and give you the go. There is an easy way to avoid this as a reviewer by using the Start Review feature on Bitbucket. It will put all your comments on hold and then you release them all at once at the end of your review. On GitHub, that's the default behavior. As an author, you have to be challenging. Do not be intimidated by the reviewer, even if you're a junior and they are senior. You have the best understanding of these code changes, their purpose and context. Make sure that you only apply comments and suggestions that you understand and agree with, because they are worth spending time on. Finally, keep in mind that it's very hard to do a proper code review. It's demanding and exhausting for the reviewer. Make sure that you show some appreciation for the reviewer's time and effort by answering all their comments. Even if it's just a little thank you or thumbs up, that's good for the team spirit and collaboration. Congratulations! Now the code review is over. Together, we enhanced the team's code before merging it, and we learned from each other. The code review is another layer in our software development process that gives all of us as a team an opportunity to transform one individual's code into the team's code and enrich our technical knowledge and code-based awareness when we do so. We all need to have the good mentality, the good approach towards this exercise. It has to be an enjoyable activity and a win-win for everyone involved. This definitely takes time and effort. It's exhausting to do it properly. So we all, author and reviewer, have to make sure that we spend this time in a worthwhile way, because the return on investment when code reviews are done well is definitely worth it. Thank you for joining me on this code review journey. I wish you wonderful reviews from now on. Thanks for watching.